did it go down, and what did you think? Did he make the right decision?
I was fine with the decision in real time. You were like, oh, ooh, like that. That was sort of what it emoted from me. Listen, it was a clean look. If anybody has the license to take that shot, it's Jimmy Butler. And I will add, you think of some of the shots that he hit in Game 6, and a large part of the charge in the second quarter and in the fourth was because of what Jimmy Butler does. And so you knew there was a sense of urgency about the Heat. The shot that Max Strus hit was a terrible shot if we're going to analyze shots as well. But that's where the Heat were in terms of relying on themselves, betting on themselves, and going for the jugular. I didn't have any problems with it. And I will also add, the way officiating had been going, as Amari just pointed out, he thought that the offensive foul on Jaylen Brown was just a play on in the playoffs. I don't know that you want to put that in the hands of the officials by attacking Al Horford in that way.
I don't know. Amari, what did you think when you saw it?
I mean, I thought it was a good shot. I mean, I feel like as your best player taking that shot is okay with me. And plus, you have a chance to get the ball back as well. With the time on the clock right now, you still can shoot that shot and get the ball back for one more shot, So I thought it was a good shot.
Listen, if it falls, it's legendary, right? But doesn't conventional wisdom say you play for the tie at home?
You play for the tie at home if you haven't played 48 minutes. If you played 48 minutes, you don't want 5 more.
So
you want this game to end.
He was tired.
Absolutely.
And that's why you think it was a good decision?
And also, the snow was rolling down the mountain. I mean, there was an avalanche happening here. That's 11-0 run. So you're riding the momentum of, I make this shot, I take the wind out of their sails. I mean, that's a gut punch if he makes that shot. Whatever happens in the last 15 seconds, the Celtics can call timeout, they can bring the ball down, whatever. They've already felt that impact of a big shot like that. It was a legacy shot, it just didn't go in.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics allow the Heat back in this game. I mean, they went on an 11-0 run, as you mentioned. So now we're going to turn around. They're going to play the Golden State Warriors starting on Thursday. This experienced team that the core has won 3 titles already. What are your concerns, Amari, about the Heat about the Celtics going into the finals?
Yeah, you can't have those type of lapses, especially against the Golden State Warriors. You can't allow those guys going 11-0 runs. You have to be able to close out games, close out halves and quarters. All those little minor details are going to be imperative going into the finals, because the Golden State Warriors are a team that's already been there, done that, right? They've been through the fire. They won championships. They see the ups and downs. They know the momentum shifts in the games, and they know how to manage those games. So for the Celtics, this is new for them. They have to tighten up now and think about how can we close out games, how can we make sure that Tatum has the ball down the stretch, and how can we get a good shot to close out halves and games.
I mean, Monica, you've been covering the East this whole time. Do you see any red flags when it comes to the Celtics going into this finals?
I think when you give up a run is more important. There are going to be some inevitable runs when you deal with the Golden State Warriors, but late in game, I mean, going into last night, they had been 1-4 in winning games that came down to clutch time decisions, and so they've got to figure out a way to shine when the game matters most, and a lot of it is going to come from Jayson Tatum. But Ime Udoka has been steady as the day is long throughout this season. Y'all remember we wanted to split up Jaylen and Jayson, and throughout the series, each series, he continues to talk about how his team has grown. So, yes, while there was certainly some moments that had us doing double takes and side eyes, I do think that they will learn from both Game 6 and Game 7.
Talking about, I mean, you mentioned closing games and you mentioned Tatum in the same breath. What are you seeing in that regard, Alan?
Yeah, first of all, who's this we? Because not everybody wanted to break up those two guys. That's a smart thing to do.
Don't do that.
Keep them together. But who's this we? Monica, are you French all of a sudden? Because I don't remember ever saying that. But
listen,
it was said. It
don't act like it wasn't a thing.
It was said by some people, but you said we in this collective company. That would include myself.
She was saying like the media family, maybe a few people. A few members of a few outliers in our family.
We'll talk offline about that, Monica. But
to Monica's point, they were really struggling. They had a losing record, and there was talk of breaking the two.
That's my concern. It's your home in Game 6. And you take a punch in the first quarter and you really don't recover from it. You miss some free throws that are critical free throws to lock up a game as well in this series. Those are the concerns, is not being able to win in Game 6 at home in a closeout game against a wounded animal. And then in Game 7, having the game locked up with 4 minutes to go and not getting a good possession, not getting a really good look or a good shot. You could say some of Smart's threes were open, but there's a reason why he was open for them.
He took the last 5 shots of the game. I mean, how does Tatum, what does he need to do? Does he need to assert himself more in your mind?
Just go and get the ball. I mean, there's times where, you just go and just flash into open space and ask for the ball. and get the ball and just ISO and clear it out, and then go to work. I mean, it's just that simple. And so,
does he have that dog mentality, though? Does he have the mentality that it takes to lead his team to close out these situations?
I mean, when you've been blessed by Kobe Bryant and you're wearing the arm sleeve, you for sure have it in you. You know what I'm saying? You just got to bring it out. You got to find a way to bring that out because he has it in there. But to win a championship, it has to come out.
So does he have to tap into the Mamba more consistently, in your estimation, Monica?
I think that's fair to say, but I will point out they were running double teams at Jayson last night, right? And so I'm not necessarily telling him to go score on 4 people, right? Although that would be amazing, Mamba mentality absolutely personified. But he's got to make winning and impactful plays down the stretch. Whether that is, to Amari's point, I'm flashing to wherever, I know the double's going to come, and then I can whip the ball quicker. And then if Marcus Smart has a clean look or whoever has a clean look and they don't hate it, then there's a little bit more of a conversation about Tatum's involvement, right? I think that's kind of the next step for me. I don't want to be looking at him around like, where are you? It's not necessarily that I need you to jack up every shot down the stretch.
Yeah, we talk about Smart being the emotional leader of this team, but isn't that up to Tatum as well?
It is, but it's a very LeBron-like thinking, is you take what the defense gives you. And if I'm being doubled, if that guy's open, I have to trust my teammate. And that's what he was doing a lot in this series. And I bet that's what the Warriors are going to do as well in the finals.
Is that going to get it done in the finals? I mean, can he play like he did? Listen, he was the Larry Bird winner of MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals. Does he have to elevate, though, next round?
He does. He does have to elevate. And I do think the players around him are also going to elevate as well. So when he does make those passes, I do have confidence that the role players, the other guys on the Celtics are going to make the right play and score the basketball. But I do feel like Jayson Tatum can do a lot or a little bit more because he's doing a lot already, right? But he can do a little bit more to exert himself in these finals.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.